think we should listen to Prince Arundel and go with him to Caraldthas?
The great elven army and what is left of the human army in this part of Vertial are now gathering at Caraldthas. Separately, none of these troops stood a chance. But united... well, in any case, it's the only hope we have left. Reinforcements from the Freeborn Blades and Red Scribes will help. And so will you, from what I've... And even if I don't approve of all the strategic choices made by my sovereign these last few years, I think he'll rise to the occasion now that he can no longer... He knows the lands around Caraldthas perfectly, so I'm sure he will bring the battle onto terrain that will favor him. And since you're curious to know more about what happened to you, my people's scholars are famous. They can
You've got it all figured out.
I believe we can manage to hold the Deadwalker army back this time, though it's a bit early to start.
There you are, at last.
I'm still thinking.
Don't wait too long.
Do you think we ought to...
If you want to get to the World Heart, we'll need to go by there. But the Prince's company seems both unnecessary and dangerous. Believe me, I know his type all too well. Invested with a mission he is soon overwhelmed. In the name of his family, or because of an idealized vision of his future duties as sovereign, he will give his all. In other words, all chasing after glory and honor, unprepared and unprotected,
Seeing the shit we're in, I don't think he's doing it just for the glory. He's got an interest...
And in making it look like everyone has survived entirely due to his talents, and not those of a mercenary who can produce flames and defeat a general of the Deadwalker. Do you really believe he wants you around just because he enjoys your company? Not to mention the increasing threat implied by our friends dressed all in red.
What do you suggest we do?
When we get to Caraldthas, we better give them the slip and head to Black...
Why should we go down there?
Because those lands are positioned quite close to the city of the elves, and like all the lands of the Ice Lords, it's a point of entry into the World Heart.
We'll be able to break camp soon. Where's our next objective?
For now, we're going to stick with the Red Scribes. They haven't paid us yet, and they won't until we reach Caraldthas. In any case, that's where we're headed. I sent Wolf on ahead of us a few weeks ago to see if he could find fresh volunteers for us. But I don't think there's much hope of that. This war is looking worse and worse for us. In 10 years fighting, the Deadwalkers haven't lost. But considering what's left of Vertial, that would be like hiding in a pile of ashes. We have to... For the moment, it's the only card we have left to play.
Thy captain is less stubborn than thee. Methinks I should perhaps have chosen...
That's not a good idea, Captain. As long as we still don't know what he is, and more importantly, what he wants, I wouldn't trust him.
Well, up until now, he's been useful. I think if he'd wanted to harm us, he would have already done it, huh? But it's you that has to live with him, so...
Prince Arundel is asking us to join up with his forces in Caraldthas to fight...
For years now, the Knight has fought in many battles, and with men, the generals, the kings, and the chiefs of those armies were usually ready to sacrifice the lives of their men with... If the mercenary goes to Caraldthas, this prince will use him for his own purposes and He cares for nothing beyond his own safety. And if he is faced with the Ice Lords, he would turn and flee, as did his brothers before. The Knight is weary of these doubts and petty thoughts. He wishes to return to the attack. If he was in the mercenary's place, he would listen to the demon and follow its plan. And he would like to know that he would not stand alone in this fight.
Arundel wants me to go with him to Caraldthas.
You should go with him. Caraldthas is our only hope for now. And the prince, we would be safer there. Both the human and elven armies are gathered there. And I believe you may find some answers there. The elven sages are some of the wisest people on Vertial, if any.
It's pretty obvious what happened to me. A demon has somehow gotten into my head.
And this does not worry you?
Yeah, it's starting to scare me.
I can imagine. These new powers come at a price. And I fear that you, Vulcan, your very self, may be the price that has to be paid. You must go to Caraldthas. I believe you must find a way to control this thing, or...
What do you intend to do now?
I have to talk things over with the other members of my order. But we planned everything that is left of the human and elf armies is there. If we join forces, the contract with your company only ends once there anyway. What's more, it might be an excellent opportunity to learn more about your guest. The elven sage, and I suggest, until we should learn more, that you neither listen to it nor obey it. I think it's lying to you, manipulating you.
Do you think we should listen to Prince Aran?
The great, separate, reinforced, and even if he knows the land, and since you've got it all, I believe we can...
There you are, at last.
I will fight with you at Caraldthas. Your army...
Idiot! Thou hast sentenced thyself to death. And now?
Now we will go with the others to Caraldthas, to swell our ranks, combine our forces, and face the Deadwalker army on equal terms.
Equal terms. Because thou hast slain a vassal far from his master, do not presume too much upon this body. Now draw close to the domain of one of these necromancers. Faced with his power, 1,000 soldiers more or less will make no difference. The power to slay this vermin lies within us. But it cannot be used from such a weak vessel, nor can it even be protected from those who covet it.
I am more and more powerful.
Yes, yet still not powerful enough. And this city is of no interest. The necromancer will lay waste to it with a wave of his hand. While he tarries, thou must make haste to reach his palace.
You said that I lack the power. I will not throw myself into the wolf's jaws.
When thou returnest to the world heart, none will stand before us. Thou wouldst already possess the power to destroy this sorcerer and his like, if thou hadst but allowed the evolution of this useless body. Look upon thyself. Thou art duped.
Vulcan, have you seen something?
They use thee.
Your captain will be wondering where we are.
Huh? Yes, of course. Let's go.
There you are, sire. Right. Change of plan. Seeing how cold it is, it will come as no surprise to you to learn that the Deadwalkers have already been here. They're still close.
We must rejoin my father's army as swiftly as we may.
I think we already found them. Take a look around us.
There are survivors. Apparently they are camped not far from here. This soldier will lead us to them.
Prince Arundel, my lord, can it be you?
Soldier, what happened here? Is the king with you?
The Deadwalkers took us by surprise. The cold and the ice. We stood no chance. Almost all of the city has been invaded by the ice.
My father! Where is the king?
I know not, Your Highness. But a few of us were able to escape. Lord Commander Valen has built a camp close by the city.
Valen is here! Take us to his camp.
By your leave. Follow me, my lord.
My prince, we had lost all hope of seeing you return safe. We have no word from Bastion.
Bastion is lost, Valen. We came into this war too late. The General of the Alliance gave his life that I should escape with Relmar.
The deserter. What business did he have at Bastion?
The deserter was fighting, while you and your wondrous army waited, warm and safe, sat upon their asses. I hope the result is pleasing to you, Valen.
Silence, both of you. Relmar saved my life, Valen. For now, you will consider him pardoned.
By your will, my lord. And I see that you are escorted by the Freeborn Blades.
In truth, they are escorting the Red Scribes, but their presence is our good fortune. They have already once put the Dead Walkers to rout in the marshes. This man slew one of their generals before my very eyes. I will tell you more of this later. Now I must speak with my father. Where is he?
No one knows, my prince. The king was still in the royal palace when the river Estelduin fell upon the city.
The river? What happened?
'Twas like a great wave that froze all that it touched. We had seen the approach of the Deadwalkers' vanguard 4 days before, and we had raised Caraldthas' defenses in preparation. Not even the sight of 10 juggernauts would have feared us. But we never dreamt that an Ice Lord would come to lead the assault himself. He walked calmly to within an arrow's flight of the gates, never once speaking. And then, the river rose up from its bed to form a gigantic cloud that hung up over Caraldthas. We understood our peril too late. Near all of our soldiers stood atop the ramparts or in the streets when the ice cloud fell. All were frozen where they stood. That was his signal to launch their assault, but we were already vanquished. We fought to cover our retreat.
We must find the king!
I know, my prince, but every entry to the city is guarded, and we cannot risk being discovered.
It is clear we will not travel 200 paces if we do not first slay the sentinels close to the encampment. Only then will we be able to attempt to enter the city and save your...
I'll go find your king for you.
Vulcan, did you hear me ask for volunteers? Our mission is over. The Red Scribes have screwed up from start to end. But they're in the hands of the Elven army now.
Captain, since we're here, we may as well make ourselves useful, right? And we have to get inside those walls if we want to know what happened to Wolf and the other blades we left here.
Ah, Vulcan. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
That is why I shall go with him. I grew up in this city. We shall help one another.
My prince, you know well it is my duty to object to you taking such a risk.
And you also know that your objections will change nothing. No man here knows the palace better than I. If my father is within, I will find him.
By your word, sire. But I fear most what other things you may find. I can but put my trust in your newfound champion to watch over your highness.
Don't forget, you'll have to deal with those sentinels before you try anything else, Vulcan. Meanwhile, the lads will set up camp near the south gate.